Joining me right now is UFC light heavyweight standout Dustin Jacoby. Dustin, man, it's good to get you back on the show. How's life?
Life's been treating me well, man. I'm happy to be back on your show. I've had some good talks with you in the past,
Mhm.
so training's been going good, life's been going good, and everything's good, man.
The good life, it started, I don't know if it started in 2020, but for you and your UFC journey, it started in 2020. The start of the year was kind of rocky. I believe you were supposed to fight for the PFL, and those plans got switched. You went to the Contender Series. Lots of questions heading into that fight. You went through a 3-round war, got the decision, got the contract. What did you gain most out of that experience, just the Contender Series experience?
To be honest, just getting familiar with the Apex and getting familiar with how everything's ran with the bubble, and now this COVID testing and getting there, getting tested, being quarantined, and getting stuck in your room and getting back out and just going through getting familiar with all the staff and all and how it's run, the personnel and that's the biggest thing. The fight was just another notch under the belt as far as my career goes. I feel like I've been through the ringer, man. I've been through it to get to it. So I think I've proved in that fight that, there's just levels to this game. And then in my next fight coming through with the first round TKO. And I feel like I'm in my prime, man. I'm the best I've ever been.
Did you feel more pressure heading into the UFC debut compared to the Contender Series fight?
I didn't feel any pressure, man. And honestly, I haven't felt any pressure since, when I fought Sean Choice and Glory back in 2015, I think it was 2016. I've just been a veteran fighter, the past few years, and mentally, I'm strengthening my mind a lot with a lot of the books I'm reading, and I've come to realize, man, pressure is a privilege. You can't, it's a privilege to go out there. It means somebody gives a shit about what you're doing, and it's a good thing, man. You can't let the pressure get to you. It's critical to not let the pressure get to you and become greater than the pleasure of competing. So I'm excited where I'm at, and I just enjoy what I do.
That pressure, that's an interesting topic amongst athletes, but for fighters, man, it's a totally different thing. How do you feel, exactly? How did you know that pressure was gone?
Like I said, I remember it to the day. It was when I fought Sean Choice and Glory. I was in the back with my coach. I was like, man, I don't have any butterflies. I don't have any nerves. I just can't wait to go out there and compete under the lights and show off, so to speak, and show everybody what I do day in and day out. And my whole life, like the biggest thing between like sports and fighting, like sports, the pressure, I thrived in it, man. I loved it. Like I get excited, it's like, there's pressure on the line. Let's go. This is my time. Fighting's a little bit different. You get in there and the pressure, it's more like fearful because you can get hurt in fighting. In sports, there's no fear of getting hurt. There's no pressure of getting hurt. So when there's pressure and the game's on the line, that's when I thrive, man. In fighting, I had to learn when that pressure was on the line to just accept it and realize, it's a privilege to be there and it's an honor to be able to showcase my skills in front of all the fans.
Well, that pressure doesn't seem like it's been there because you went out there and in your UFC debut, you got a clean finish over Justin. And when you look back at that, man, where does that rate amongst all the wins?
Dude, it felt good just because, the goal was to always fight in the UFC and to get a UFC victory. I fought in the UFC almost a decade ago, 2 fights and done, 2 losses. So it's while I had fought in the UFC and I had been there and I had made it to the top, I don't ever claim a stake because I hadn't had a victory, man. I hadn't had a win. And to get that first official UFC win, dude, that was just like the weight of the world off my shoulders. And I'm ready to rock, man. Like I said, I'm a veteran. I've been through it to get to it. I'm excited about where I'm at, the position I've put myself in through, taking these battles and showing up to practice and accepting and signing on the dotted line. So I'm excited to go on a nice little run here in the light heavyweight division.
You're a perfect example of someone that used experience to help you in your second run. Do you feel like some of these guys that don't have experience, that are like, let's say 5-0, 10-0, they get into UFC, it's almost too early for them because they haven't gone through the ups and downs?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, like I said, when I say I've been through it to get to it, I mean, my first UFC fight, my UFC debut, I had never been taken down in a fight before. I had never thrown an elbow in a fight before. I never really got busted up. And I think it takes a guy that's been down at the bottom, that's been drugged through the mud, and to really dig deep and know what it's like to be able to pull off a win. And, my career, the path that I've went through has shown me what it's like to jump in the fire, and sometimes I burned, and other times I came rising out of it. And I'm thankful for that journey that I've been on, man, because there's no pressure, man. I feel no pressure whatsoever. I feel like this is my time, and I'm facing another guy, Max Grishin, that's, I guarantee you, at the same level as me. He's 31-8 professionally. He's been around the block, 36 years old. He's a crafty veteran. So it's going to be two guys that, who has it up here? Who has it more up here? Who's willing to dig deeper and go further? And I promise you, that's me, man.
Yeah, you mentioned your upcoming opponent, Maxim. He's a veteran. He's had belts in other promotions, PFL. He's competed in that. What is your breakdown of him and his style of fight?
Yeah, I think Max is a crafty veteran. I think he's very good. I think he's big, durable. He's fought the majority of his career at heavyweight. So, and he's, he moves well for a bigger guy. So, and he's cutting down to light heavyweight. It's going to be a clash of two brawlers, man, two strikers, two guys that go in there to knock each other's heads off. And I'm excited for the opportunity. I know Max is going to be prepared. At 205, man, I feel like he's a bigger guy. He's going to be cutting down like Justin Ledet did. I'll walk around right at 212. I show up, step on the scale, and ready to roll. So I think my speed and my quickness is going to really show in this fight.
Yeah, you walk around very low for a 205er. How much of a difference has it made for you to fight at light heavyweight instead of 185?
The biggest thing for me, man, is not worrying about the weight cut, not putting 1 ounce of energy, thought, anything into the weight cut. I show up, I'm comfortable all week. I'm a big eater. I love to eat my food. So, I'm eating my meals 3, 4, 5 times a day, and, working out and not worrying about the weight cut. I know at 205, I'm going to show up. I don't even look at my weight until the morning of weigh-ins, and I decide what we have to do, So I'm right there at 205. Like I said, it's been huge for me, not wasting any energy on that cut.
Do you feel it in your body, like when you're going through training camp, like your bones, your joints, anything like that? Because you don't have to worry about dropping that weight.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about dropping the weight, but just your bones and joints and your bumps and bruises all through training camp, man, they all add up. Every one of us is walking into the cage a little banged up, and whether you have a big weight cut or not, there's just always things that go wrong. And in this sport, we're constantly just banging bodies, wrestling, grappling, sparring, punching, kicking. So, there's always going to be issues like that. But now that I don't have to worry about a weight cut, I'm so much more comfortable in camp. I eat healthy anyway, but I can just eat whenever, however, and pile it on. It's hard for me to keep weight on. So for me to be at 205, I'm actually trying to gain muscle and get a little bit bigger. And it's just so hard for me, but we're trying.
Is that something that you're focusing on, or you've been focusing on, is just to be able to become a little bit bigger and be more for the division, so to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And here I'm going to get busy with fights. I plan on going and taking Max out and getting, fights, just reeling them off here in 2021. So, and it's hard as it gets closer to a fight. What people don't understand is we have to be in shape cardio wise, right? So we got to really push it with our metabolic performance and our metabolic training. And it's hard. Like I said, it's hard for me to keep on weight. I'm drinking 1.5 gallons of water a day, almost 2 gallons a day. It's just really hard when it gets close to that fight to keep that weight on because I'm so active. I'm moving so much. And the training is just you're preparing for, a marathon.
The guy you're fighting, he doesn't mind standing and trading a little bit on the feet. You know what I mean? What do you bring that he hasn't seen yet with the striking?
I think my striking resume is pretty impressive, man. My road up through glory. I fought the best in the world. I've had my ups and downs, and I've the biggest thing, man, is I'm the one that stepped in that ring every single time and faced these top level strikers. I've been in there with Simon Marcus, with Alex Pereira, Murad Bouzidi, Michael Duke, Daniel Lunga. I mean, guys that people might not have heard of, but dude, these guys are the best strikers in the world. And if Max is coming in as a striker, which, he primarily is, I think I'm going to have a speed advantage. And I think I'm just a cleaner striker. And I think the time will tell, when we get in there, it's going to be people are going to see what's going to happen.
Is it the case of speed kills more than anything?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's why I think I'm so dangerous at 205 is I have the frame to compete at 205. I have the power to compete at 205. And speed wise, I'm one of the fastest at 205. So, that's one thing I hang my hat on. I am pretty quick at 205, which is where another reason I moved up from 185, because while I was the bigger guy at 185, I was always the bigger guy. I was always finding guys just a little bit quicker because they're a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker. That weight cut kind of slows you down a little bit as well. We're at 205. Yeah, I'm a little bit smaller as far as like mass, but frame, I'm just as big as these guys. Speed and power, I'm above them.
Of course, you're working at Factory X and Landow Performance. Are there any other spots you frequent around Denver?
No, man. Factory X and Landow Performance are the two that I train at. I'm loyal to Factory X, and Landow Performance is, it's critical that they're a huge part of my game. I would not go into a fight feeling confident and prepared if I was not training at Landow Performance. So, big shout out to those guys for keeping us in line.
Yeah. Well, in Factory X, you got a bunch of guys that you work with, but you got that small group. Who is the small group, and has Anthony Smith been in camp with you, or has he gotten there recently? Because I've seen that he got a fight book.
Yeah, he just got a fight book with Jimmy Crew. I haven't trained with Anthony since about January. He hasn't been in. He's kind of training in Nebraska at his place. So right now we got guys like Josh Fremd, who just won a big fight in LFA. He's like 8-1. This kid's an absolute killer. A lot like me. He fights at 185. He's a little bit skinnier than me, probably. So he's like perfect for 185, but same exact frame, if not just a little bit bigger, and an absolute killer. One of my main training partners, love going with that guy. Cody Brundage fights for LFA tomorrow night at middleweight, but he's a big guy. He fought the Contender Series at 205, real strong wrestler, so I love training with him. We got, of course, Austin Jones is a good guy. He fights at 170, but what's cool about Austin, he's a little bit smaller, but he's so damn quick, and he never stops going. So he really pushes the pace when you're training with him. And another guy, we got this guy named Nerm. Big dude, hasn't even had a fight yet, man. But this guy, he's the real deal. He's young. He's 6'4", 250 pounds. He moves like a middleweight. And I told Coach, man, we get this guy, once we start getting him some fights, he's going to have to go right to the Contender Series because he's going to smash everybody that tries fighting him regionally, and he's just going to have to learn on the big stage, man. So those are some of my main training partners, and they're pushing me every day and keeping me prepared.
Now, with this fight coming up, February 27th, what can the fans expect out of Dustin Jacoby?
They can expect a very focused, dedicated fighter, a guy that's going in there. I'm on this run here. I'm on a push, man. I'm trying to get to the top of the division. I've been through it. And it's going to be fireworks, man. We got another crafty vet that likes to throw bombs, and, we're going to see who goes down first. And I'm super excited. I feel very comfortable. I love the Apex. I feel like the UFC is going to become my home, man. I was meant to be a star. I think it's going to happen, man. Everything happens. Timing is everything, and all in due time, man. I think my time's right around the corner.
Now, you're a guy that was at 185 and now at 205. Israel Adesanya is going to move from 185 to 205 and fighting for the title automatically. If you could give some advice to him about, I guess, putting on weight or not even putting on weight, what would you say to him about the whole weight issue?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of a weight issue. He's a bigger guy. I've seen him a couple times. He fought a couple times in Glory when I was headlining a couple shows, and I saw him in Vegas before my fight with Justin Ledet, and I kind of forgot how big of a guy he was. He's got a big frame. He's kind of like I was talking about Josh Fremd, real big frame, but kind of skinny, and can easily make that middleweight division. I think he's just coming up because he can. I think it's a good opportunity. I'm sure the UFC is paying him well, and who doesn't want to go for a second, title? And so quick. I think he made his UFC debut 3 years ago. So more kudos to him, man. More power to him. I'm excited for him. And just another guy that, bounces back from divisions, and ultimately, right, he's at the top. So the goal would be to compete with him one day, and more power to him. I hope he gets that belt, and then we see John Jones maybe come back down. I don't know if he will, just because he's packed on so much size. So maybe we missed that fight, but I don't know, man. More power to him. I'm excited for him, and excited to one day be at that level and competing with him.
For sure. Another guy that you've mentioned, but now he's been released by the UFC, is Gokhan Saki. But when you heard that, you're probably like, man, that slipped out my fingers, right? Basically.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I was excited to compete against him. I really thought that'd be a fun fight. Pure kickboxing. You knew someone was going down, throwing power shots. And I respect the hell out of Gokhan Saki, man. He's a legend. I love watching his fights. I've watched a lot of his fights. I trained at the same places he's trained over in Breda, Holland, and know the same people. So I just thought that would have been a fun fight for the fans, fun fight for all the people in Glory Kickboxing. But hey, man, there's more strikers out there. There's bigger names at the top, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
Definitely. Now, a couple questions about just MMA in general. Let's play some fantasy, right? Let's say you're sitting at the top of the athletic commission in Las Vegas, because it seems like Las Vegas is the one that basically rule over everything. What would you change? What would you adjust in the rules or in just protocol in this sport that would make it better?
Oh man, hit me with a question like that. I haven't really thought too much about it as far as the commissions. I think the commissions do their best work. I think they do the best they can. I think that they've done a great job of accommodating the fighters for the weigh-ins to where now we're weighing in or first thing in the morning, which is not such an issue with me because I'm not cutting weight. But I remember at 185 and back in the day, you can't weigh until 7 p.m. and then you fight the next day. So I think they've done a good job with the weight cuts. I think they do the best that they can, man. I really wouldn't. I don't have any ideas of what to change or how to change it, but I think they're doing the best they can.
All right. Now, there's a lot of different types of violations, right, in the cage, with fighters. Like there's eye pokes and groin shots and fence grabs. What offense should be an automatic point deduction in your eyes?
Well, I think if you deliberately use the cage to help you, if you're going to prevent a takedown or to help you get up, that's a pretty severe penalty right there. It could really change the outcourse of the fight. A lot of the eye pokes, I mean, they just happen, right? Sometimes you just get poked in the eye. Guys leave the fingers open. Unfortunately, that's part of it. And the groin shots, you see them often, but you also see fighters who don't even really get kicked there. It's not even that hard, but they're tired and they're using it as to their defense, using it to their advantage to, delay some time. So I would like to see the groin shots. I mean, and it's so touchy, man. Who am I to say, right? You see these groin shots. We don't know if they actually hurt him or not. So I hate to say, but there is some that are like pretty obvious. It didn't hit you there. It didn't hit you very hard. And now you're just kind of using it to milk the clock. But yeah, legal. The fence grab would be the big one for me.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people, that's just the one that is completely deliberate. I've asked.
Yeah.
A few fighters.
Yeah, absolutely. You're using it to your advantage, 100%.
And even restarts too. Let's say someone, like you were taking someone down, and then they grab the fence. You see the referees restart them on the feet. Do you think that's something that they should look into? Because when they restart, it seems like they don't restart in the position that they stopped the fight at.
Yeah, it's just the way that the cookie crumbles, right?
Yeah.
It's the way it goes, I guess. I mean, if you got the clean takedown and it's clean right there, then you pause it, you do your thing, you talk with the fighters, you take your points if you have to, and you set them right back up where they are. If it's one of those where you take him down, he kind of gets back up, uses it to get back up, I mean, you kind of have to start back on the feet, right? And then just let the other guy try to get him down. So both cases are unfortunate. How about guys just stop grabbing the fence?
Yeah. yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully there's no fence grabs happening on February 27th when you return back into the octagon. Dustin, thank you so much, man. It's always good catching up with you. Good luck on the fight and good luck on getting as many fights this year as possible.
I appreciate you, man. I really do, and I enjoyed talking with you. And thank you for getting my story out, my how I'm doing before the fight, and letting everybody know that I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm coming for that victory February 27th.
Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with a word you